2020 is definitely going to go down in history as a very strange year, and it had a massive impact on us in the JRC, as all organisations. We had to respond to the crisis and deploy our scientific resources to help our policy colleagues to respond in a multitude of different ways. A lot of people have said that 2020 was a moment of science. I think it was a moment when we started to understand that it's very difficult to respond to some of these complex policy challenges, the challenge of responding to the crisis, which has a health implication, a social implication, an economic implication, geopolitical implications. It's very difficult to respond to this sort of a crisis without solid facts, without sound science, and without very strong analysis. In that sense, it was an opportunity for a scientific organisation like the Joint Research Centre to really showcase our expertise and to show the relevance of a scientific organisation in the broader policy construct. So we had to work quite hard to find an appropriate balance, to redeploy resources to respond to the crisis without ignoring the core activities that we need to take care of. I think we managed to find that balance quite well. We proved to be adaptable and pretty resilient, and I think as we look back over the year, we can be proud of the achievements and satisfied that we managed to both deliver on our core priorities and provide a very substantial contribution to the response to the crisis as well. If we set the crisis aside, it was also the first year for us in implementing the new priorities of the von der Leyen Commission, whether it's our work on hydrogen or our work on biodiversity or many, many other areas. We have a major contribution to make to the Green Deal. So it was not particularly difficult for us to align our work to these new priorities, or the work on digital, or the work on democracy, and so on. The other thing to mention perhaps is the work on the recovery and the work that we did on strategic foresight, because in 2020 we produced the first strategic foresight report, and we put the focus there on resilience and connected it therefore with the work on the recovery and the work we need to do to ensure that our economies are able to bounce forward out of the crisis and that we're able to build a more resilient and future-proof Europe and learn the lessons, including the lessons of the crisis, as we go forward. It's clearly challenging when you come into an organisation fresh and you're in the middle of a crisis. You have to take some quite rapid decisions. You also have to invest quite a lot in building trust. I spent quite a lot of time getting to know people, working quite closely to build that trust and ensuring high levels of transparency in the organisation. I think it's particularly important in a crisis that people know what's going on and that you're very straight with people. That's, for me, the key way to build trust, and trust is absolutely central if you want to run an effective organisation. We have obviously a new multi-annual financial framework, a new Horizon Europe and Euratom programme to implement, and the new von der Leyen priorities to continue to implement. So we need to continue to adjust our working programme to take account of those priorities and those changes. We need to continue to work to deal with the consequences of the crisis and to help support efforts towards the recovery. And we also need to continue to work to adapt and adjust internally in the Joint Research Centre to these new challenges. So there's going to be one part of our work which is about pushing an internal transformation of the way we work together to ensure that we're fully fit for purpose going forward and that we can really deploy our scientific expertise in support of the emerging policy agenda. And a part of our work which is very much working in partnership with policy DGs to provide scientific excellence and robust science in support of the policy objectives of the European Commission. The new European Bauhaus is one of the very exciting projects we're going to be working on. This is an an initiative launched by President von der Leyen in a State of the Union speech. And the Joint Research Centre has been given the lead role in taking forward the design and the delivery phase of this initiative. So at the moment we are putting together a team of colleagues to set this up and to collect ideas about how to bring this initiative to life. And so it's an exciting way for us to contribute our scientific knowledge, but also to bring together different constituencies, from architects and engineers to scientists, to artists, to young people, on how we can really deliver sustainability with style.